Marcus Hale was not the type of man who searched for trouble. He was an engineer, a builder of machines, a man who liked the quiet rhythm of bolts, wires, and humming generators. Life on the faraway colony of Kepler 9 was difficult, but it had a certain peace that Marcus enjoyed. The alien world was harsh with its deep blue skies and twin moons that hung low, but Marcus liked its silence. On this particular day, he was walking near the water filtration pools. These pools were large artificial basins, dug out of the rocky ground and filled with the strange mineral-rich water of the planet. The colonists had built machines to filter the water, purify it, and make it safe to drink. Marcus was checking the systems for leaks and pressure problems. It was routine work, and Marcus enjoyed such work. The sun was beginning to lower, turning the pools golden. The air smelled faintly of minerals and dust. Birds, if they could be called that, screeched from the cliffs. Marcus tapped his scanner against the side of one pump and made a note on his tablet. All seemed normal. Then he heard it. At first it was only a faint splash, as if a rock had been dropped into the water. Marcus frowned. Colonists had been warned never to throw anything into the pools. He walked closer, listening. Then came another sound, frantic thrashing. The water churned violently near the far end of the basin. Marcus hurried. When he reached the edge, he froze. A small creature was in the water. It was unlike anything he had seen before, though he had heard the colonists speak of them in whispers. It looked like a wolf, but not a wolf from Earth. Its fur shimmered with faint blue light, glowing softly even under the sun. Its eyes were large, golden, and filled with fear as it struggled to stay above water. The poor thing was drowning. Marcus looked around. There was no one else nearby. The pool was deep, deeper than any human could stand in. The creature was thrashing, going under again and again. Marcus's heart pounded. He had been told about these creatures before. The colonists called them Lurai wolves, though no one knew if they were truly wolves or something more. Some claimed they were dangerous. Others claimed they were spirits of the planet, untamable and wild. The colony leaders had warned everyone, do not interfere with them, do not approach them. But Marcus was not the kind of man who could stand by and watch something die. Hold on, he muttered, as if the creature could hear him. He dropped his scanner, kicked off his boots, and leapt into the water. The cold struck him like knives. His breath caught in his throat, but he forced his body to move. He swam hard, pushing toward the glowing shape that flailed in the water. The creature went under again. Marcus dove. His hands closed around wet fur. It was softer than he expected, almost silky, but the body beneath it was trembling with panic. The small wolf snapped weakly, but not in anger, only in fear. Marcus tightened his grip and kicked upward, dragging them both toward the surface. They broke through, gasping. Marcus held the creature close with one arm, paddling with the other. Its glowing fur lit the water around them in a faint blue halo. Easy, easy, he whispered, though his teeth chattered from the cold. I've got you. The pool's edge seemed far away, but Marcus swam with steady strokes. The creature grew still, as if sensing that the human was trying to help. It coughed, yes, coughed, and a strange musical sound left its throat almost like a whimper. Finally, Marcus reached the side of the pool. With effort, he lifted the small wolf onto the rocky ground. Then, shivering and gasping, he pulled himself out after it. The creature lay there, sides heaving, golden eyes wide. Water dripped from its glowing fur. For a long moment, Marcus and the alien wolf only stared at each other. You're alive, Marcus said softly, though his own chest burned with exhaustion. You're safe now. The wolf coughed again and whimpered. Its body trembled. Marcus hesitated, then carefully reached out. The creature flinched but did not run. His hand brushed its wet fur, warm, alive. Footsteps echoed behind him. Marcus turned. A group of colonists had arrived, drawn by the commotion. Their faces were pale as they saw the glowing creature. Marcus, step away from it, one of them shouted. That's a Lurai. They're dangerous. Marcus shook his head. It was drowning. That doesn't matter, another man barked. These things aren't pets. They're wild, maybe worse. You shouldn't have touched it. Marcus looked down at the small wolf. It looked back at him, and he thought he saw something in those golden eyes. Gratitude. Trust. I couldn't let it die, Marcus said firmly. The colonists muttered among themselves. Some backed away. Others glared at Marcus as if he had broken some sacred rule. But Marcus ignored them. He pulled off his jacket and wrapped it gently around the small wolf's body to keep it warm. The creature shivered, then pressed closer against his side. The colonists gasped. "It's choosing him," someone whispered. "Ridiculous," another spat. "Animals don't choose," but Marcus felt it too. The tiny alien wolf was not afraid of him anymore. She was clinging to him, trusting him completely. The colony leader, an older woman named Dr. Elandra, finally arrived. She frowned deeply at the sight. "Marcus Hale," she said sternly. "You may have just made a mistake none of us can afford." Marcus met her eyes. "If saving a life is a mistake, then I'll live with it." Elandra sighed heavily. "Do what you want, but don't expect the colony to support you if this creature becomes a problem." With that, she turned and walked away. The others followed, muttering under their breath. Soon Marcus was alone again, sitting beside the glowing wolf. He looked down at her. She was breathing more calmly now. Her eyes blinked slowly, tired but watchful. "You're going to be all right," Marcus murmured. "I'll make sure of it." The tiny alien wolf made a soft sound, like a sigh, and laid her head against his knee. In that moment, Marcus knew his life had just changed forever. Over the next hours, Marcus stayed with her. He dried her fur with rags, fed her a little dried meat from his pack, and gave her water from his flask. She ate weakly, then rested her head back down. The sun finally set and the twin moons rose. The wolf's fur glowed brighter under the night sky, casting a faint light across the rocks. Marcus sat silently, feeling the strange beauty of it all. He did not know what the future held. He only knew one thing. This tiny alien wolf had trusted him with her life, and he would not betray that trust. The colony on Kepler 9 was never quiet for long. Machines hummed, miners shouted, children played, and guards patrolled the rocky borders. Yet for Marcus Hale, everything felt different now. Ever since the night he pulled the glowing alien wolf from the water, he felt eyes watching him. Some filled with curiosity, others with suspicion. The colonists whispered about it. Some called him brave. Others called him foolish. A few said he had doomed them all, but Marcus cared little for their talk. What mattered to him was the little creature who now followed him like a shadow. She was small, hardly reaching his knee, but her glowing fur and golden eyes made her stand out in the colony. At first, Marcus thought she would run back into the wild once she grew strong. But she stayed. Every morning when he opened the door to his workshop, she was there, waiting. Every night when he returned, she trotted silently after him. Marcus named her Lyra. Lyra was cautious at first. She did not like loud noises or sudden movements. When other colonists came near, her ears flattened and she stayed close to Marcus. But with him, she relaxed. Slowly, her trust grew. One day, while Marcus was fixing a broken drone, Lyra patted over and tilted her head curiously. Her glowing fur made the workshop shimmer faintly in the dim light. Marcus laughed softly. "You're curious, aren't you?" he said. He held out a screwdriver. Lyra sniffed it, then tapped it with her small paw. The tool rolled across the floor. She wagged her tail, a strange sight because her tail left a streak of faint blue light in the air like a comet's trail. Marcus smiled. "So you like to help, huh?" From that day forward, Lyra often sat near him as he worked. Sometimes she barked softly if he dropped a tool, as if scolding him. Other times she nosed around until she found what he needed. She seemed to understand more than an animal should. Not everyone was pleased. One afternoon, Marcus entered the colony's mess hall with Lyra trotting at his side. Conversations fell silent. Dozens of eyes turned on him. Some widened in fear, others narrowed with anger. "That thing shouldn't be here," a miner muttered loudly. "It's dangerous," said another. "What if it attacks our children?" Marcus ignored them, but Lyra's ears twitched back. She pressed against his leg nervously. Finally, Dr. Elandra, the colony leader, stood. "Marcus," she said firmly, "we've spoken about this. The Lurayi are not pets." "She's not a pet," Marcus replied calmly. "She's a life I saved, and she chooses to stay with me." "Even if that's true," Elandra said, "her presence makes people uneasy. The colonists fear what they don't understand." Marcus glanced down at Lyra. She looked up at him with trusting eyes. "Then maybe it's time we try to understand," he said softly. Elandra's expression softened just a little, but she shook her head. "Be careful, Marcus. If this bond of yours brings trouble, you will stand alone." Weeks passed. Despite the cold stares and muttered warnings, Marcus and Lyra grew closer. She followed him everywhere, even out to the shield wall where he maintained the generators. One evening, as the twin moons rose, Marcus worked outside the colony. The air was sharp and cold. His tools clinked softly against the generator panel. Lyra lay nearby, watching with glowing eyes. Suddenly, she stiffened. Her ears pricked forward. A low growl rumbled in her throat. Marcus froze. What is it? From the darkness beyond the shield wall, shadows moved. Figures, large, four-legged, and fast. The wild predators of Kepler 9. They looked like twisted hyenas with bone ridges along their backs and eyes that gleamed red in the moonlight. There were 3 of them. Damn, Marcus muttered. He grabbed the wrench from his belt, the only weapon he had. The predators crept closer, snarling. The shield wall was active, but Marcus was working at a point just outside its range, where repairs had left a small gap. The creatures had smelled weakness. One leapt. Marcus swung the wrench, striking its snout. The beast yelped but didn't back off. Another circled. Before Marcus could react, Lyra shot forward. She was small, but she moved with blinding speed. Her glowing fur became streaks of blue light as she darted around the predators. She barked sharply, her cry echoing like music across the rocks. The predators snapped at her, distracted. Lyra! Marcus shouted. She darted in front of one beast, her glowing form blinding its red eyes for a moment. The predator stumbled. Marcus swung again, striking hard. The beast collapsed with a groan. The others snarled, confused by the glowing wolf that darted just beyond their reach. She seemed to know exactly when to get close and when to retreat, giving Marcus precious seconds. Together, man and alien wolf drove the predators back. Finally, the creatures retreated into the night, growling as they disappeared into the hills. Marcus dropped to his knees, gasping for breath. His hands shook. Sweat mixed with the cold night air. Lyra trotted over and pressed against him, panting but unharmed. Her golden eyes glowed softly, filled with pride. Marcus wrapped his arms around her. You saved me, he whispered. She barked softly, tail glowing as it wagged. News of the attack spread quickly through the colony. People whispered that Marcus's wolf had fought off predators. Some were amazed, others were afraid. They're smarter than we thought, a farmer said in awe. Or more dangerous, muttered a guard. Dr. Elandra called Marcus to her office. She leaned forward across her desk, studying him. Is it true? The Lurai saved your life? Yes, Marcus replied firmly. She risked herself for me. Elandra frowned, deep in thought. Then perhaps we misjudged them. If they can bond with humans, perhaps they are more than wild beasts. Marcus hesitated. I think they're intelligent, Dr. Elandra. Maybe even sentient. Her eyes widened slightly. That would change everything. In the days that followed, Marcus noticed more strange things. Lyra seemed to understand his words. When he told her to wait, she sat patiently. When he asked her to bring, she often picked up the right tool in her jaws. She even seemed to sense his moods. When he was frustrated, she pressed her head against his hand. When he laughed, she wagged her glowing tail like a lantern. One evening, Marcus sat by the pools where he had first saved her. The water shimmered under the moons. Lyra lay beside him, head resting on his leg. You're not just an animal, are you? He whispered. You're something more. Lyra lifted her head and looked at him. Her eyes were deep, almost too deep. She gave a soft cry that sounded almost like a word. Marcus's heart skipped. Was she trying to speak? He reached out and stroked her glowing fur. Maybe one day we'll understand each other. But not everyone wanted to understand. Late one night, Marcus heard voices outside his workshop. He stepped to the door quietly and listened. Can't let him keep it, a miner whispered. That thing is unnatural. He says it saved him, another replied. That's how it begins. Next it will turn on us. We should deal with it now before it's too late. Marcus's hands clenched into fists. He wanted to shout, but instead he closed the door softly. Lyra looked up at him with questioning eyes. Don't worry, Marcus murmured, kneeling beside her. I won't let them hurt you. She pressed her glowing body against him as if she understood. Life grew tense. The colony was divided. Some began to see Lyra as a sign of hope, proof that humans and this alien world could coexist. Others saw her as a threat, but Marcus knew one truth. Lyra had chosen him. She trusted him, and after the night of the predators, he trusted her with his life. One stormy evening, Marcus stood at the edge of the colony, watching lightning split the alien sky. Lyra stood beside him, her fur glowing brighter under each flash. "Whatever comes," he said softly, "we'll face it together." Lyra barked once, clear and strong, her glowing tail slicing the dark like a comet, and Marcus knew this was no ordinary friendship. This was the beginning of something far greater. The storm had passed, but the colony of Kepler 9 was restless. Tension hung in the air like the heavy clouds that still drifted above the mountains. Marcus could feel it every time he walked through the settlement. People paused in their work to stare at him and the glowing wolf by his side. Their whispers followed him like shadows. Lyra walked close, her golden eyes calm, but Marcus knew she felt the unease too. Her ears twitched at every murmur, every hissed warning. The colony was divided. Some colonists believed Lyra was a gift, proof that humans could live peacefully on this world. Others saw her as a danger, a wild thing that would one day betray them, and now, something worse was coming. It started with the water. The colony needed more than the filtration pools could provide. Dr. Elandra had warned the council many times. If they drained too much from the planet's natural rivers, they could cause harm. But the miners were growing greedy, demanding more water for processing ore. The council finally gave in. Large pumping stations were set up near the great river that wound through the rocky canyons. Machines roared day and night, drawing water at a speed faster than ever before. At first it seemed like a solution. The colony's tanks filled quickly, but Marcus noticed the land changing. Plants near the river shriveled. Strange glowing fish disappeared. The nights grew quieter, as if something was missing. Lyra noticed too. She grew restless, pacing along the edge of the river. Sometimes she would lift her head and howl, her glowing fur shimmering in distress. Marcus felt her sadness like a weight in his chest. One night he found her standing on a cliff overlooking the river, her golden eyes filled with sorrow. "What is it, Lyra?" Marcus asked softly. She turned to him, then back to the river. Her glowing body trembled. Then without warning she howled, a long, haunting sound that echoed through the valley. The answer came almost at once. From the shadows of the canyon, more glowing shapes appeared. Large, majestic, wolf-like beings stepped into the moonlight. Their fur shone brighter than Lyra's, their eyes burning gold like suns. They moved with grace, their presence commanding. Marcus froze. His heart pounded. He was surrounded by Lurai elders, the true guardians of the river. Lyra barked joyfully and ran to them. They lowered their heads to her, sniffing and nuzzling her with affection. But when their eyes turned to Marcus, they hardened. The largest of them, a towering wolf whose fur glowed silver blue, stepped forward. His voice was not spoken aloud, but echoed in Marcus's mind like a deep song. "Human, why have you taken one of our young?" Marcus swallowed hard. "I didn't take her. I saved her. She was drowning." The great wolf's eyes burned brighter. "And yet she stays with you." "That is not your choice to make." Lyra barked sharply and stood between Marcus and the elders. Her golden eyes glowed fiercely as if she were defending him. The silver-blue elder tilted his head. "Strange. She is bonded with you. No Lurai has ever chosen a human before." Marcus slowly raised his hands. "I don't want to harm her. I only want to protect her. She's my friend." The elder's gaze grew cold. "If you are truly her friend, then prove it. Tell your kind to stop draining the river." The next day, Marcus went to the council. The chamber was tense. Dr. Elandra sat at the head, her face pale with worry. The miners and guards argued loudly about resources. Marcus stepped forward, Lyra at his side. Gasps filled the room. "I've met her people," Marcus announced. "The Lurai are not animals. They are intelligent. They are guardians of this world. And they are angry." The council fell silent. "You're saying they spoke to you?" One man sneered. "Yes," Marcus replied firmly. "They warned me. If we keep draining the river, there will be consequences." A miner slammed his fist on the table. "We need that water. Without it, our operations die. Are we supposed to bow to glowing wolves?" Marcus's voice grew sharp. "They are not just wolves. They are the reason this planet has balance. If we keep pushing, we'll start a war we cannot win." The room erupted in argument. Some sided with Marcus. Others shouted him down. Finally, Dr. Elandra raised her hand. "Enough, Marcus, what do they want?" "They want us to stop," Marcus said. "They want peace. But they will not allow us to destroy their rivers." Elandra's eyes narrowed. And if we refuse? Marcus looked at Lyra. She stared back, her eyes glowing with quiet strength. He turned back to the council. Then they will fight, and I believe they will win. Tension turned to crisis within days. The Lurai appeared near the pumping stations. Majestic glowing figures stood silently on the cliffs watching the machines drain the river. The miners grew fearful, refusing to work. Guards raised their rifles nervously. One night a machine was found destroyed. Its pipes torn apart, its engines ripped from the ground. No one was harmed, but the message was clear. The colony stood on the edge of conflict. Dr. Elandra called Marcus again. Her face was weary, her eyes shadowed. You are the only one they listen to, she said. This bond you have with Lyra, it might be the only thing keeping them from attacking. But I cannot stop the council forever. We need a solution. Marcus thought of Lyra, of the trust in her golden eyes. He thought of the elders, their voices echoing in his mind. And he thought of humanity's future on this planet. Then I'll go to them, Marcus said. I'll find a way to make peace. That night, under the light of the twin moons, Marcus stood again before the Lurai elders. Lyra was at his side, her fur glowing brightly. The silver-blue elder stepped forward. Human, have you come with an answer? Yes, Marcus said firmly. I ask for peace. My people need water, but we don't want to harm your world. I can build technology to multiply the water we take. We can use filtration and condensation, machines that create more without draining the river. We don't need to take everything. We can share. The elder studied him for a long time. The other Lurai growled low, doubtful. Then Lyra stepped forward. She stood tall, her glowing fur shining like a star. She barked once, clear and strong. The elder's gaze softened. The young one speaks for you. She trusts you. Marcus swallowed. She does. And I trust her. For a long moment the night was silent. Then the elder bowed his great head. Very well. We will give you one chance. If your machines bring balance, there will be peace. If not, we will end this. Weeks passed. Marcus worked tirelessly, building new systems with the colony's engineers. They built condensers that pulled moisture from the air, filters that recycled wastewater, and pumps that drew only a safe amount from the river. It was not easy. Many complained. Some doubted. But slowly the tanks filled again. The colony survived, without harming the river, and the Lurai watched. Sometimes Marcus saw them on the cliffs, glowing shapes in the night. They no longer growled or destroyed machines. They stood silent, guardians once more. One evening, Marcus sat by the river with Lyra. The water shimmered under the moons. Lyra lay beside him, her golden eyes calm. You changed everything, Marcus said softly. If not for you, we'd be at war. Because you trusted me, your people gave us a chance. Lyra barked softly and nuzzled his hand. From the cliffs, the silver-blue elder appeared. His voice echoed in Marcus's mind. Human, you have done as you promised. Balance is restored. You are different from the others. You see more than yourself, Marcus nodded. I only did what was right. The elder's eyes glowed warmly. Because of you, we will remember your kind not as destroyers, but as friends. The young one chose well. With that, the elder turned and vanished into the shadows. Lyra looked at Marcus, tail glowing as it wagged. Looks like we did it, Marcus whispered, smiling. She barked once, clear and bright, her voice carrying across the river like a promise. In the end, Marcus knew he had changed not only his own life, but the fate of two species. Humanity would stay on this world not as conquerors, but as partners. And it had all begun with a single choice, when one human dove into the water to save a drowning wolf. And in that moment, as Lyra pressed close beside him, Marcus felt certain of one truth. Humans were not special because of strength or power. They were special because of compassion, and sometimes compassion was enough to change the stars.